MASH, 1972–1983, remains one of television's most beloved and influential series, blending comedy, drama, and heartfelt moments set against the backdrop of the Korean War. The show's enduring success was brought to life by a talented cast whose performances made Hawkeye, Trapper, and the rest of the 4077th unforgettable to audiences worldwide. Sadly, over the years, several of these iconic actors have tragically passed away, leaving behind a lasting legacy in television history. In this video, we honor the MASH stars we've lost, celebrating their remarkable careers, unforgettable performances, and the impact they left on generations of fans. William Christopher was born on October 20, 1932, in Evanston, Illinois, to a working-class family with deep Midwestern roots, and he was 40 when he took on the role of Father Francis Mulcahy in MASH*, 1972. On screen, Mulcahy was the gentle, soft-spoken Catholic chaplain whose quiet moral courage and empathy provided a counterbalance to the chaos and dark humor of the 4077th. Christopher's portrayal made audiences care deeply about a character often underestimated, revealing an inner resilience and a capacity for emotional depth that mirrored the actor's own subtle strength. Growing up, Christopher experienced a childhood shaped by modest means, the early death of his father, and the pressures of hiding emotions in a household that prized stoicism and conventionality. This instilled in him a quiet determination and an acute sensitivity to human suffering, qualities he carried into his performances. Personal tragedies punctuated his life, most notably his struggles with his son Ned's autism, which became a lifelong source of concern, devotion, and advocacy. He channeled this personal turmoil into a broader humanitarian purpose, using his celebrity to raise awareness for autism and speak candidly about the challenges and joys of caring for a disabled child. Professionally, he faced the pressures of a long-running television career, navigating typecasting, the relentless schedule of network television, and the demands of sustaining character depth over 11 seasons, yet he remained beloved by co-stars and fans alike. Christopher passed away on December 31, 2016, in Pasadena, California, from non-small cell lung cancer at age 84. At his death, his net worth was estimated at $8 million, encompassing royalties from television and film, and his legacy extends beyond material wealth. He left an enduring imprint as an actor whose warmth and moral authenticity brought dignity and compassion to one of television's most humane characters, and as a tireless advocate whose work off-screen touched countless lives. Harry Morgan was born on April 10, 1915, in Detroit, Michigan, into a working-class family that faced the hardships of the Great Depression, which instilled in him a combination of stoicism, resilience, and understated humor that would characterize his performances. At 59, he joined the cast of MASH*, 1974, as Colonel Sherman T. Potter, the seasoned, no-nonsense commanding officer whose blend of authority, wisdom, and warmth transformed him into the moral and emotional anchor of the 4077th. On screen, Potter balanced strict military discipline with grandfatherly affection, guiding his subordinates through the absurdities and horrors of war with a pragmatic, human-centered approach that resonated with viewers. Morgan's upbringing was punctuated by economic struggle and the early loss of stability in his family, experiences that informed the gravitas, resilience, and empathy he brought to his characters. His personal life was largely stable, though it included the rare blemish of a 1980 domestic violence arrest that was quickly dropped, an event that tested his public reputation but did not derail his career. Professionally, he weathered decades of Hollywood's instability, moving from minor roles to prolific work across film and television, earning an Emmy and widespread acclaim for his depth, versatility, and enduring screen presence. Morgan married Eileen and maintained a family life shielded from the harsher glare of public scrutiny, even as he navigated fame and long production schedules. He passed away on December 7, 2011, in Los Angeles from pneumonia at the age of 96. His net worth at the time of death was estimated at $10 million, encompassing earnings from film, television, and royalties, yet the true measure of his legacy lies in his cultural and artistic influence. He left behind an indelible portrayal of integrity, humor, and humanity, and set a standard for leadership and mentorship on television that continues to inspire both performers and audiences decades after his passing. Kellye Nakahara was born on January 16, 1948, in Honolulu, Hawaii, into a Japanese-American family with roots steeped in both cultural pride and the lingering effects of wartime prejudice, which shaped her identity and early experiences of subtle discrimination and social invisibility. She was 25 when she joined MASH*, 1973, as Lieutenant Kelly Yamato, RN, the cheerful, dedicated nurse whose warmth, competence, and quiet resilience made her an indispensable presence in the 4077th's operating room and a beloved figure to audiences. Nakahara's childhood was marked by navigating cultural expectations, societal stereotyping, and limited opportunities for Asian American girls in mid-20th century Hawaii, experiences that cultivated her perseverance, adaptability, and inner strength. Her adult life involved confronting the persistent marginalization of minority actors in Hollywood, the constraints of being cast primarily in supporting roles, and the pressure to remain professional while asserting her worth in a system that often overlooked talent based on ethnicity. Despite these challenges, she flourished, appearing in 167 episodes of MASH* and branching into film, while also cultivating a rich artistic life as a watercolor painter and a civic leader in Pasadena, demonstrating resilience, creativity, and dedication to community. Nakahara passed away on February 16, 2020, in Pasadena, California, at the age of 72 from cancer. Her net worth at the time of death is not publicly documented, but her legacy extends far beyond material wealth. She remains a trailblazer for Asian American representation in mainstream media, a quietly revolutionary figure whose grace, talent, and commitment to both craft and community left a lasting impression, and whose story exemplifies the power of perseverance, authenticity, and understated influence in shaping cultural and artistic landscapes. David Ogden Stiers was born on October 31, 1942, in Peoria, Illinois, into a family of modest means, and was 35 when he joined MASH in 1977 as Major Charles Emerson Winchester III. On screen, Winchester was the epitome of aristocratic refinement, a surgeon whose precision in the operating room was rivaled only by his haughty demeanor, often clashing with Hawkeye and BJ in a mix of comedic tension and subtle moral reflection. Beneath Winchester's polished exterior, Stiers infused a latent humanity and vulnerability that allowed audiences to sense the man behind the mask of superiority. Stiers' early years were shadowed by financial constraints and social displacement. His father struggled to provide stability, and young David often faced ridicule for his scholarly inclinations and refined mannerisms, which marked him as different among peers in Peoria. These experiences left him highly introspective and intensely driven, shaping a career that would straddle classical theater, television, and voice acting. Tragedy touched Stiers' life profoundly. He endured the painful loss of close friends in his 20s, alongside professional setbacks in theater productions that failed or were critically panned, cultivating a cautious, sometimes reclusive personality. Yet he channeled his turmoil into mastery of his craft, studying at Juilliard and later conducting the Newport Symphony Orchestra, as well as lending his voice to beloved Disney characters, including Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast and Jumba in Lilo and Stitch. Openly gay from 2009, he had long concealed his sexuality due to fear of discrimination in Hollywood, a burden that informed his nuanced portrayals of conflicted, outwardly rigid characters. Stiers passed away on March 3, 2018, in Newport, Oregon, at 75, from bladder cancer, leaving an estate estimated at $3 million. His legacy endures in both tangible contributions to the arts and the intangible gift of performances that balanced wit, gravitas, and empathy, inspiring generations of actors and audiences alike while revealing the complex intersection of personal vulnerability and public acclaim. Larry Linville was born on September 29, 1939, in Ojai, California, into a childhood marked by instability and constant relocation, which left him simultaneously worldly and cautious. He was 33 when he stepped into the role of Major Frank Burns in MASH in 1972, portraying a petty, rigid, an often laughably insecure army surgeon whose obsession with rules and rank made him a perfect foil for the irreverent antics of Hawkeye and Trapper John. Linville's depiction of Burns combined comedic timing with subtle traces of vulnerability, revealing the insecurities and tragic loneliness that lurked beneath the character's rigid facade. Growing up in a family that experienced financial strain and social displacement, Linville learned early how to mask feelings of inadequacy, which he later translated into his craft with uncanny precision. His adult life was tumultuous. Linville married 5 times, endured repeated personal upheavals, and grappled with the relentless pressures of Hollywood typecasting. While MASH catapulted him to fame, it also trapped him creatively, as he became frustrated with the narrow scope of his role and ultimately left after 5 seasons, a career gamble that threatened professional momentum and financial stability. Health issues compounded these struggles, as Linville later faced cancer and pneumonia, which ultimately claimed his life on April 10, 2000, in New York City at the age of 60. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $4 million, reflecting both his television success and other acting endeavors. Despite professional frustrations and personal turbulence, Linville's portrayal of Burns remains culturally resonant, a study in the intersection of comedic genius and personal vulnerability, showing how early life insecurities and adult challenges can be transmuted into unforgettable performance, leaving an enduring mark on the landscape of American television comedy. Wayne Rogers was born on April 7, 1933, in Birmingham, Alabama, into a Southern family that emphasized education, resilience, and personal responsibility. He was 39 when he assumed the role of Captain Trapper John McIntyre in MASH in 1972, a witty, irreverent, and audacious surgeon whose charm and playful defiance of authority brought levity to the grim realities of wartime medicine. Trapper's charisma and camaraderie with Hawkeye made him a beloved figure for audiences, blending humor with deep humanity, yet Rogers' life behind the camera was far more complex than his character suggested. His childhood and adolescence were punctuated by social scrutiny and intellectual isolation. Excelling academically and graduating from Princeton University, he faced early tensions between expectation and individuality, which informed his nuanced performances. Professionally, Rogers clashed with producers over creative direction, leaving MASH after 3 seasons to reclaim agency over his career and avoid typecasting. This pivot led him into the worlds of finance and investment, where he became highly successful as an investor, commentator, and advisor, amassing a fortune estimated at $75 million by his death. Personal tragedy and the loss of close family members added emotional weight to his later life, deepening his commitment to mentoring and philanthropy while maintaining an understated Hollywood presence. Rogers passed away on December 31, 2015, in Los Angeles at the age of 82 from complications of pneumonia. His legacy spans entertainment, finance, and cultural influence. Trapper John remains a symbol of clever defiance and irrepressible charm, his life story reflecting the balance of creativity, intellect, and resilience, as well as the untold personal sacrifices that underpin even the most beloved screen personas. McLean Stevenson was born on November 14, 1927, in Normal, Illinois, into a family that valued education and social propriety but whose emotionally reserved environment left young Stevenson feeling constrained and often compelled to mask vulnerability with humor. His childhood was punctuated by small tragedies and formative challenges, frequent moves, the death of a close relative, and a subtle, persistent pressure to conform to Midwestern ideals. These early experiences instilled in him both a sharp observational skill and a penchant for self-deprecating comedy, traits that later shaped his iconic screen persona. At 45, Stevenson assumed the role of Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake in MASH in 1972, bringing to life a commanding officer whose genial, easygoing approach belied the pressures of war and responsibility. Blake's humor, warmth, and human fallibility resonated deeply with audiences, creating an emotional connection that made his unexpected death in a plane crash one of television's most shocking moments. Off-screen, Stevenson struggled to navigate Hollywood's pressures, leaving MASH in pursuit of leading roles that consistently failed to gain traction, a career misstep that haunted him professionally and personally. He faced repeated setbacks, including the cancellation of several sitcoms, and experienced periods of isolation and self-doubt. Stevenson's private life was marked by turbulence as well. Difficult romantic relationships and an ongoing quest for recognition compounded the strain of public scrutiny. He sought solace in fishing, writing, and occasional theatrical projects, using creativity as a buffer against disappointment. Stevenson died on February 15, 1996, in Los Angeles at age 68 from a sudden heart attack while recovering from bladder cancer surgery. Though his net worth at death is not publicly recorded, his lasting legacy resides in his portrayal of Henry Blake, a character whose humanity, humor, and poignant demise continue to shape the emotional core of ensemble television storytelling, influencing the depiction of leadership, vulnerability, and moral complexity in popular culture. Patricia Stevens was born Patricia Stepaniak on September 16, 1945, in Linden, New Jersey, and was 29 when she first joined MASH** in 1974 as Lieutenant Baker, RN. On screen, Lieutenant Baker emerged as a pillar of quiet resilience, her calm professionalism a counterbalance to the relentless chaos of the 4077th. Stevens' performance captured not only the skill and composure of a wartime nurse but also subtle vulnerabilities, hinting at the emotional and psychological toll behind the poised exterior. Behind the camera, Stevens' childhood was marked by the stark realities of post-war urban life. She grew up in a Polish-American household constrained by financial hardship and social expectations, witnessing her parents' ongoing struggles and frequent conflicts. From an early age, she developed a talent for observation and self-restraint, learning to mask her emotions while nurturing a natural empathy, traits that later informed her acting and voice work. Professionally, Stevens faced the precariousness of being a character actress in 1970s television, dealing with typecasting and the limited scope of substantial female roles. She successfully transitioned into voice acting, becoming the second voice of Velma Dinkley in Scooby-Doo, where she brought intelligence and subtle humor to the character, and later devoted herself to teaching, integrating art into science and history curricula, creating lasting influence in education. Her personal life was touched by tragedy, including a prolonged battle with breast cancer, which eventually claimed her life on May 26, 2010, in Rutland, Massachusetts, at the age of 64. Stevens left no public scandals behind, and although her net worth was never fully documented, she bequeathed a legacy that combined artistic versatility with intellectual and emotional investment in young minds, leaving a mark both on screen and in classrooms, illustrating the extraordinary depth that could exist behind roles often relegated to the background. Richard Leesung was born on August 14, 1930, in El Paso, Texas, and was 44 when he joined MASH in 1974, portraying a range of Korean characters across 11 episodes, including the memorable Kim Luke in Officer of the Day. On screen, his characters were witty, expressive, and culturally nuanced, often providing both humor and subtle commentary on the tensions of the Korean War, reflecting a sharp intelligence and charm that endeared him to audiences. Lee Sung's childhood was marked by hardship. Growing up as a Korean American in segregated Texas, he faced frequent racial discrimination, social isolation, and economic deprivation, forcing him to cultivate resilience, humor, and self-reliance early in life. These early experiences deeply informed his off-screen persona, giving him empathy for the marginalized and a natural stage presence. His life was dramatically shaped by his service as a U.S. Marine during the Korean War, where he earned a Purple Heart and became part of the legendary Chosen Few, witnessing horrors that left lasting emotional scars, including survivor's guilt and post-traumatic stress, which he managed privately for decades. After the military, he reinvented himself as a bartender and stand-up comic in LA's Chinatown, earning the playful moniker sex symbol of Chinatown, and gradually transitioned into acting, where his magnetic charisma and cultural authenticity made him a sought-after character actor. Despite the intensity of war and the pressures of Hollywood, Lee Sung maintained an unblemished reputation, avoiding scandals and remaining devoted to family and community, mentoring young Asian American performers along the way. He passed away on August 16, 2021, 2 days after his 91st birthday, from natural causes, leaving behind a legacy of pioneering representation for Asian American actors. While his net worth is not publicly documented, his cultural impact, enduring charisma, and contributions to both comedy and television remain significant, embodying resilience, grace, and an unspoken testament to overcoming personal and societal adversity. Roy Goldman was born on March 1, 1932, in New York City, into a Jewish family that navigated the hardships of the post-Depression era while fostering a strong sense of resilience, education, and cultural identity. Goldman's upbringing involved negotiating crowded urban spaces, economic uncertainty, and exposure to subtle anti-Semitism, which honed his sensitivity to human behavior and cultivated an understated adaptability that would later define his acting style. He joined MASH at the age of 41 in 1973, portraying Private Roy Goldman, a corpsman whose presence, though understated, provided continuity, reliability, and an anchoring calm amidst the chaotic medical unit of the 4077th. His character, often operating in the background, reflected an everyman professionalism that resonated with viewers and offered a subtle counterpoint to the more flamboyant personalities surrounding him. Goldman's personal life was shaped by quiet dedication and the struggles of supporting actors in Hollywood, irregular work, typecasting, and a persistent sense of underappreciation. Though he never courted scandal, Goldman experienced private disappointments, including navigating the competitive nature of casting, occasional professional snubs, and the unglamorous realities of ensemble television work. He also faced personal losses and health scares that punctuated his otherwise steady life, deepening his empathy and informing his approach to nuanced, believable performances. Goldman passed away on September 1, 2009, in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 77. His net worth at death was not publicly documented, yet his contributions to ensemble television and the understated depth he brought to his roles ensured a quiet but enduring legacy, demonstrating the crucial impact of character actors who provide narrative stability, texture, and emotional grounding within iconic series like MASH. Johnny Haymer was born on January 19, 1920, in St. Louis, Missouri, into a modest family whose limited financial means and Midwestern sensibilities shaped a childhood of quiet perseverance and adaptive humor. Economic hardship and a conservative social environment forced him to cultivate self-reliance, observational acuity, and the ability to mask vulnerability, skills that would later enrich his complex screen portrayals. At 54, Haymer joined MASH in 1974 as Staff Sergeant Zelmo Zale, the supply sergeant characterized by scheming humor, opportunistic pragmatism, and a begrudging fondness for the soldiers he supervised. Zale's comic charm and subtle moral ambiguity allowed Haymer to explore the interplay between bureaucracy, humor, and human imperfection, creating a memorable figure who balanced frustration and endearment for the audience. Beyond the series, Haymer navigated the competitive world of Hollywood with versatility, appearing in television, film, and voice roles, including Transformers, Annie Hall, and Star Trek, while maintaining a discreet personal life that avoided scandal yet required constant adaptation to industry volatility. He faced silent struggles common to supporting actors, intermittent work, aging in a youth-centered industry, and the psychological weight of professional marginality. Haymer channeled these pressures into his craft, cultivating a reputation for reliability, comedic timing, and depth. He died on November 18, 1989, in Los Angeles at the age of 69 from cancer. While his net worth at death was not publicly recorded, his legacy is enduring, defined by the creation of a character whose humor, cunning, and relatable flaws epitomize the critical role of character actors in shaping the emotional and comedic resonance of long-running ensemble television shows like MASH. Allan Arbus was born on February 15, 1918, in New York City and was 55 when he assumed the role of Major Sidney Friedman on MASH** in 1973. Friedman, the perceptive and compassionate psychiatrist, became an emotional anchor for the 4077th, offering humor, insight, and empathy to characters struggling under the stress of war. Arbus' own life mirrored the intensity of his on-screen persona. He grew up in a Jewish family during the Great Depression, experiencing financial instability and social prejudice that nurtured a keen observational sense and a persistent inner drive. Before acting, he co-ran a celebrated photography studio with his then-wife, Diane Arbus, producing some of the most iconic, provocative images of mid-20th century New York, a career that demanded artistic audacity and confronted societal norms. The dissolution of his marriage marked a period of personal and professional upheaval, compelling him to reinvent himself as a full-time actor in television and film, where he excelled in roles requiring intelligence, nuance, and emotional subtlety. Arbus faced the pressures of fame, the challenge of navigating two intense creative industries, and the personal ramifications of raising children amid public attention, yet he avoided public scandal, maintaining a reputation for integrity and thoughtfulness. He died on April 19, 2013, in Los Angeles at the age of 95 from congestive heart failure. His net worth was never widely reported, but his artistic and cultural legacy spans photography, television, and film, with Major Friedman remaining an enduring archetype of the empathetic professional, influencing how mental health and wartime trauma have been depicted in American media. John Orchard was born on November 15, 1928, in Kennington, London, and was 44 when he joined MASH** in 1972 as Captain Ugly John Black, an Australian anesthesiologist whose rugged wit and understated charm provided levity and groundedness to the 4077th. Orchard's on-screen persona radiated both world-weariness and approachable intelligence, capturing audiences with his sharp humor and the subtle humanity behind a character otherwise defined by cynicism and professional skill. His childhood in London was shadowed by World War II. He endured air raids, rationing, and the death of close relatives, experiences that left him both resilient and emotionally guarded, and later informed his ability to portray toughness with nuance. His career trajectory was uneven, typecasting, repeated rejections, and the volatility of the British and American film industries demanded adaptability and persistence, while personal sacrifices, including extended periods away from family, created a life of private struggle behind his professional accomplishments. Though he largely avoided scandal, he experienced the pressures of maintaining relevance in two entertainment markets and the isolation inherent in acting as a transnational character actor. After MASH**, he continued to take diverse roles in films such as King Rat, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and Capone, demonstrating range and resilience despite the challenges of industry unpredictability. Orchard died on November 3, 1995, in Beckenham, Kent, England, at the age of 66. His net worth at death is not publicly recorded, but his legacy lies in his steady, enduring contributions to film and television, leaving behind a body of work that reflects adaptability, skill, and the ability to create lasting impressions even in brief or supporting roles, underscoring a life of understated but enduring influence across transatlantic media. Eileen Saki, born Minako Eileen Sasaki on November 18, 1943, in Jerome, Arkansas, was 33 when she took over the role of Rosie on MASH in 1976, portraying the savvy, assertive, and fiercely independent owner of Rosie's Bar. Her character exuded strength and street-smart intelligence, often standing her ground against the chaotic, male-dominated environment of the 4077th, becoming a fan favorite for her no-nonsense attitude and quick wit. Saki's early life was marked by trauma and adversity. She was born in a Japanese-American internment camp during World War II, experiencing deprivation, isolation, and societal discrimination from birth, circumstances that instilled resilience, adaptability, and a profound understanding of human struggle. Her career path was far from smooth. She faced persistent typecasting, subtle industry biases against Asian American women, and the constant challenge of balancing creative ambition with limited opportunities, yet she secured roles in Splash and History of the World, Part 1, earning recognition for her charm and professionalism. Saki's personal life remained private, yet she navigated the pressures of fame while honoring her cultural identity, and the responsibility of being a visible representative for Asian American women in media. She remained committed to her craft, continuing to perform in television and film while maintaining dignity and focus amidst the often superficial Hollywood environment. Eileen Saki passed away on May 1, 2023, in Los Angeles at age 79 from pancreatic cancer. While her net worth was not publicly documented, her cultural legacy is profound, reflecting resilience, empowerment, and the breakthrough representation of Asian American women on network television, as well as the enduring influence of her portrayal of Rosie in American pop culture. Though time has passed, the laughter they gave us still echoes. The cast of MASH brought joy to millions, and even though some of them are no longer with us, their performances live on. As we remember those we've lost, we also celebrate the legacy they left behind, one that continues to entertain and connect generations. Thank you for joining us in honoring these unforgettable stars. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tributes to the legends of television history.